teaching team. We really appreciate, and we've grown throughout the semester. So to start with that, to begin, we want to run a little experiment. We gave our two users, Robbie and Zach, an identical computer programming language learning software. They will now show what usually happens when someone gets these problems.
How's it going?
Jeez, I have no idea what I'm doing here.
So,
If
put the
else,
forward loop
then
there. You got it.
Oh, okay. Thank you, man. That was so helpful. Like, I wish there was a place that I could go to get tips like that wouldn't break the bank, because money's key.
And wait, there's actually a solution, and that solution is Shift Up. We teach you to code together.
So at Shift Up, individuals can come learn and teach themselves how to code all together with like-minded individuals. And the key focus is that everyone's teaching themselves while they can get help from each other, as well as having the expert guidance of facilitators who have expertise in the industry. So the problem that we're addressing is that if people in today's day and age want to learn how to code, there are two avenues usually. One is through a degree program or a boot camp, and the other is teaching themselves how to code just with online materials. The problem with degree programs and boot camps is that they're very, very expensive and just not reasonable for most people. And the problem with teaching yourself how to code is that it's really hard to stay motivated and to learn everything you need to know without getting stuck. And there are just lots of obstacles that come up, and people often quit without reaching their full potential. And so the solution that Shift Up provides is a communal learning environment where everyone can talk about what they're learning, everyone works together, and they also have expert mentors so that everyone gets a very solid expertise of coding skills while not breaking the bank.
So now that you know that we have a problem, and that you know there's a solution, we want to talk about who our customers would be. So we began with the population of the United States, and we understand that that's too broad because we can't reach all those customers at once. So then we narrowed it down to the Metro Detroit population. We then asked ourselves, what kind of customer are we looking for? Maybe we added the statistic of 18 to 64. And then we also wanted to target low to middle income people because these are the people that are having this problem. These are the people that cannot afford the boot camp and that lack the resources, whether it's time or the community that you need to feel comfortable to code. And we provide that here at Shift Up. So we came up with a sweet spot of $1.02 million addressable market customers. And these people are urban-based, low to middle income, and they're your typical worker, either your server at a restaurant who isn't making minimum wage, or a worker at GM who just got laid off because of reckless corporate spending. We can go to the next slide. So now that we know that an industrial market like GM is going down, let's dive into a new market, the technology market. The technology market, as of last year, according to a recent report, grows over $240 million. These included 20,000 graduates from these programs. They either got a certificate and are now working in the field. And the good news is that we're early to this problem. We are emerging in a market that is continuously growing, and as the need for highly skilled workers rises, so does the demand for programs to provide and fix those gaps in the system. That's where we come in. Next slide, please. And our business model is threefold. First, we find the best facilitators we can possibly find who have a sense for the community that they're working in. So we're not just dumping facilitators who know nothing about Detroit into these classrooms. These people are invested and are also part of the industry and could help you network with other companies. We also teach coding lessons from Udemy. So the marginal price per new student is very low because we already have these resources. So every new student, it gets cheaper and cheaper for us to provide this service. And we also allow our customers to have a flexible payment plan because we're conscious of who these customers are. Again, they're urban-based residents who are in the low to middle income bracket who are looking to facilitate their learning code.
Sure. So, excuse me, to go into the business model in a little more depth, our key partners right now are Udemy and the Durfee Innovation Society. The Durfee Innovation Society is both our host and a partner in our vision. They believe in innovation and creativity in Detroit, and we're trying to also do that, obviously, and we think together we attract a lot of the same people and we can help each other get to our goals. Additionally, Udemy is where we get our curriculum from, so we save a lot of money by not creating our own curriculum. We just curate existing online open course materials, and Udemy, through small fees, is how we get that material. And that's how we can have this profit per classroom that you see next to it. That $16,000 in revenue is profit per classroom per month. How we got to that number is a 40-student classroom and a $400 monthly fee. The costs are primarily our rent to the Durfee Innovation Society and our staff fees, which is typically just the facilitators that we're trying to expand more. And based on that now, we can get approximately a $10,000 profit per classroom per month. So now to look at the team next. So the heart of our team is Ray. He's the CEO. He's very well established both in the Detroit scene as well as in the education sphere. He's got a background in Shift Up. He's got a background at EdSurge, and he also went to the University of Michigan. He's very well connected, and he's able to pull a lot of talent to help teach our program. The next key part of our team is the facilitators. We're currently hiring more, but we also have some that exist. Without the facilitators, we're just a room of adults trying to learn the code. Also little kids. The facilitators are very helpful. Whenever a student hits a snag, they're there to help them get to the next step. The major hole that we have right now, though, is the sales team. We are starting to acquire a small sales team, but to really get growing, we're going to need to hire more there. So this is our competitive strategy. Shift Up is trying to situate themselves between the existing online course content that is either free or low cost, or the much larger, costly coding boot camps. So in the Detroit world, that's Teachify and Grand Circus, who are very well established, but also at a much higher price point than we are. For online course content, obviously that doesn't have to be Detroit specific, so you think of MIT Open Coursework and Coursera. The reason that we are special between those two is because we have the low or similarly low cost of the online course content while having the effectiveness of the bigger companies. So far, we're obviously early stage in this, but based on our customer discoveries, we've come up with 3 major themes. One is that the primary barrier to learning to code isn't money, it's time. Definitely money is a factor, but time is why people are afraid to do it, and time is why people quit. So to help combat this, we are very flexible. Our classes aren't during the daytime. You don't have to quit your regular job to start to learn with us. They're after hours, and they work around your schedule. The next lesson that would still honestly have more work to figure out, but that we started to come up with, is the price at willingness to pay. Our original price was closer to $250 a month, but we found that people willing to pay that much were also willing to go up to $400 and still found that to be a reasonable price. So that's where we're pricing at now. And lastly, student-to-facilitator ratio. Our clients don't want to be 1 of 40 students with 1 teacher in the room. They don't think that that's enough. They think the sweet spot is somewhere between 6 and 10 facilitators in the room. So for our 40-person classroom, that's going to be somewhere between 4 to 6 teachers, which we still think is very manageable to keep costs down and profits high. So where we're going to go from here, our next steps, our primary focus right now is to get to our minimum viable product. So we only have 26 students in our classroom right now. To prove our business plan, we need that to be 40. We don't think that's unreasonable at all. We are purely marketing based on word of mouth right now. With either a sales team or just a small Facebook advertising push, we think that we can get to that 40 number. And then we'll have a lot more to be able to predict moving forward. Our second step is to do further customer discovery interviews, because even though we think that we are starting to understand the market. We know that there's a ton more to be learned from our clients, and we want to get there. That's all we have for you. Thank you for your time. We're happy to take questions.
So how do you when you graduate, what happens? I mean,
Sure.
and what kind of language do you, I mean, the program could be many, right? So do you focus in a particular language?
Primary focus is front-end web design, so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And when students graduate, we try to find them jobs in the industry, usually in Michigan, because that's where most of our facilitators are and where they are connected.
And most, I'd also add to that most programs offer just a certificate, and that's where marketing for the Shift Up brand would go up. So our credibility, as we increase our classes and as we go on, then our certificate program would be more popular in the market.
Couple of questions. You said your market was low income. You think they can afford $400 a month?
So we definitely struggle with that a little bit, but based on our research, we do think it's feasible. We definitely don't take that lightly, and we realize that that's going to be a legitimate commitment. But these are people trying to invest in the next career, or at minimum furthering their current career, and we do think it'll pay off.
The next question, you say you had 26 students. Out of those 26, you know the breakdown. It was high school students, college, post-grad, and that would probably help you come up with that number. I just think 400 is kind of high.
Yeah. So typically not high school students, either people who didn't finish a 4-year degree program or people currently in the workforce. I don't have better data on you on what the splits are, but usually in between the age of 20 to 50.
Thank you.
Sure.
I can see tremendous potential in this one. Because if Detroit is becoming, if the industry is being, what should I say, disrupted through software, autonomous and electrical, there will be a lot of need for coding expertise. So you're addressing the right need for this locale. But it's, are you catering towards the need for, like, if this is for more automotive application, is there any focus on that? Or it's just a random coding?
Yeah. So I think that's
Maybe.
where, as we grow the idea and see where the demand is with employers, so as we check market trends of what these people are looking for, whether it's like a new auto manufacturer who's doing electric cars, what types of programmers they need that could do that work, then that's where we would customize our program moving forward. The idea is that we're flexible and that we can also change with the market.
Another suggestion, with some of the things that's going on in the marketplace, you could probably get the corporations to pay for this, to educate. And you could probably charge 2x.
Right.
A finder's fee was in our.
Well, no, I mean, you could triple that number, instead of 400, maybe 1,000 a person, or whatever, but
Yeah, we subsidize.
but I think for the lower income person, that $400 is a lot. But if you get GM or somebody else to offset that, and I know unions will do it just as continuing education. So,
That's a great idea. We'll definitely look into that.
It's interesting that you said that. So Ray's a friend of mine. This is cool for me to hear because Ray's a friend of mine. Seth actually develops for my company, and he's one of the facilitators for Shift Up. And then somebody who I recently met and applied to work with us was a Shift Up grad. So it's kind of cool to hear the back end work. But I gave Ray that exact feedback. The challenge of trying to serve like a low income market is that oftentimes a sustainable revenue isn't going to come from your end users because income-wise they're pretty limited. And I had that same kind of sense of like $400 a month is pretty steep if it's a low to middle kind of income, bracket that you're targeting. But I guess my point to Ray was that if let's say there's a high demand for these types of skills, right? And I'm certain that I know actually just even in education that these corporations are investing in all types of like pipeline expansion and diversity programs to try to bring in talent for some of these high needs, middle skill areas. I guess, my suggestion to him was something something along those lines, like why not consider interviewing, corporations who would ultimately be the ones benefiting from the talent, because they could then subsidize some of the program costs, because even 40 students in a class is a tough, it's a tough bar to hit. And then the ratio that you're talking about, to me, 4 to 6 facilitators, and then have to pay, if they're coders themselves, you're gonna have to pay a decent amount to them for their time. So, I think my biggest sticking point was just something similar, like it seems like finding another way to bring in revenue possibly from somebody who's willing to pay either a finder's fee or success-based, percentage of, percentage of the income or something might be an avenue, unless you're targeting a different market, which has the disposable income of like $400 a month or something to spend on something like that.
So I think we actually very much agree. We just were a little nervous that our brand recognition wasn't at the point that we were like qualified to be approaching those companies.
Yeah.
But I definitely think we're getting there, and I think that should be some of our next steps.
And I would mention that this is a special needs population that deserves the attention and programs like this. So it's great to hear the conversations and the different ways that we can get this done.
Do you guys know about grant services costs, like for their?
So they're not the most upfront with it because they also will offer scholarships and subsidies, so it's hard to see. Their base cost is substantially higher than ours, but I don't think it would be completely honest to just say they're